In the year 2025, a court trial began against Sean Combs, better known as Diddy, a hip-hop legend and music producer. He is accused of serious crimes, including abuse and human trafficking. The main witness for the prosecution is his former girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, who has openly spoken about the brutal control, abuse, and exploitation she endured. Cassie entered the music industry full of hope after signing a contract with Diddy's label, Bad Boy Records. But soon her relationship with the producer turned into a dark nightmare. Under his control, she lost her freedom, suffered physical abuse, and endured psychological pressure. Diddy dictated how she should look, who she could communicate with, and even used security guards to monitor her. Even more horrifying were the details of sex parties, where Diddy forced Cassie to attend and participate in intimate sessions with other men in his presence. These events lasted for hours, involved alcohol and substances, and the artist was afraid to say no due to threats and blackmail. All of this not only destroyed her personal life, but also her music career. Out of the promised 10 albums, only one was released. Cassie's testimony inspired other women to come forward against Diddy, turning the case into a large-scale legal process. The defense is trying to present the relationship as mutual abuse, but the evidence and witness accounts paint a different picture. A story of suppression and exploitation under the guise of success and luxury. This story is a signal for the industry and society as a whole. Power should not justify violence. In our video, we will go into detail about how Diddy destroyed Cassie's career and subjected her to horrific abuse, and why her bravery could be the beginning of change for many victims. And today, we will talk about this in depth. So let's begin. Cassie Ventura, full name Cassandra Elizabeth Ventura, was born on August 26, 1986 in the city of New London, Connecticut. From her parents, a Filipino father and a Mexican mother, she inherited a striking appearance, which allowed her to start modeling at the age of 14. She also practiced karate, dancing, and took vocal and piano lessons. In high school, Cassie joined a group of enthusiasts who created a musical theater program at the school. The troupe was small, just 5 people, so instead of full plays, they performed reviews with numbers from popular musicals. At 16, Ventura appeared in the music video for R&B singer Mario's Just a Friend. In 2004, Cassie graduated from high school, but unlike her peers, she did not go to college. Instead, she moved to New York, where she began attending the Broadway Dance Center. For a while, she worked at the Wilhelmina Models Agency, appearing in ads for brands like Adidas, Delia's, Abercrombie & Fitch, and others. In 2004, Cassie Ventura met singer and producer Ryan Leslie. Shortly before they met, he had founded the multimedia company Next Selection Lifestyle Group, and Cassie became the first artist to sign a contract with it.
I already know the game and I've been through it. See, I buy my own bags, my boots.
Here's what the producer himself said about the singer.
It was based on the fact that I had a record with Cassie. Cassie was really the big record. That was top 10 in 8 countries, you know what I mean?
Was that Me and You?
Me and You.
Me and You.
Massive, massive record for me. And so people knew that I wrote and produced that entire album. So in the music industry, when you have a producer that writes and produces 100% album and one of those records goes all the way, then people definitely going to know your name because they want to collaborate with you, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that I think Cassie was really the precursor and the foreshadowing that the internet was going to change the way that music was discovered and distributed. Cassie was a MySpace artist. So we put her music on MySpace. We, myself and my partner, Rashid Richmond, came up with a Google hack. So everyone who searched MySpace, the keyword, would end up on her MySpace music profile, and she went from 0 to 650,000 friends in 3 months. Sometimes that happens, and I think we've been looking at that happening potentially on social media now, and Instagram, somebody does something.
In 2005, the debut single from the R&B singer Me and You was released, quickly becoming a club hit. Riding the wave of success, a self-titled solo album, Cassie, was recorded, produced by Ryan Leslie and Sean Combs, known by the pseudonym Diddy.
I know that I shouldn't have had you waiting there.
In 2006, the young and promising singer Cassie signed a contract with the well-known label Bad Boy Records, headed by Sean Combs, better known as Diddy. For the 19-year-old girl, this was a real breakthrough, a chance to take the big stage and realize her musical ambitions. Signing the contract symbolized the beginning of a new chapter in her life, full of hopes and big plans. The album, released in August 2006, was eclectic. It featured rap and R&B, slow ballads, and rock tracks. Over 300,000 copies were sold in the United States, and the lead single, Me and You, reached 3rd place on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The second single, Long Way to Go, made the top 20 in Ireland, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, and landed in the top 30 in Australia. In the following years, Cassie Ventura released a number of singles that were never compiled into a full album. In 2008, the track Official Girl came out, recorded with hip-hop artist Lil Wayne. In 2009, Must Be Love was released, featuring vocals by Diddy. According to the singer, it was an honor for her to work with the legendary rapper. In September 2011, 2 songs by Cassie's single Radio, featuring Fabulous and Make You a Believer, were included in the mixtape Bad Boy Presents The Preview, released by Bad Boy Records. In February 2012, Ventura recorded the single King of Hearts, which included elements of R&B, Eurodance, and electronic music. Critics reacted lukewarmly to the release, but listeners loved it. Even Beyoncé admitted on her official website that she loved the track. In September of that same year, Cassie and Nicki Minaj released a joint song, The Boys, which Ventura originally planned to release as a solo on her second album. But since the album's release was postponed indefinitely, they decided to do a collaboration instead. In 2017, the singer announced that from now on, her solo project would be managed by 2 labels, Bad Boy Records and Epic Records. Her relationship with Diddy was already deteriorating. In 2019, Cassie Ventura announced on social media the launch of her own independent label, Ventura Music, and released 3 singles, Excuses, Hungover, and Don't Let Go. In an interview with L'Officiel, the singer shared that working with the new team brought her great joy. She felt supported by her colleagues, and she was recording music at her own comfortable pace. However, after giving birth to 2 children, Ventura paused her music career and focused on her family. But let's return to the story of her romance with Diddy. After Cassie celebrated her 21st birthday, a romantic relationship began to develop between her and Diddy. Their connection became an unexpected but powerful twist. From professional partners, they turned into a couple. It seemed like a natural progression of their collaboration and promised to be a new chapter in both their lives. Love and excitement filled the early months of their relationship. Cassie sincerely wanted to be with Diddy, a man who at that time seemed like an ideal, successful, influential, and charismatic. She saw him as someone who could protect her and help her achieve success, and that sense of security brought them closer. However, the first signs of control and restriction soon began to appear. Diddy started dictating how Cassie should look and behave, both professionally and personally. His influence extended to her work, communication, and even everyday details. This gradually became a heavy burden for the young girl. If Cassie didn't answer calls or messages, Diddy could call repeatedly and even send his security guards to watch her. This behavior demonstrated growing control and highlighted that the relationship was no longer equal or free. This marked the beginning of the gradual loss of personal freedom. Diddy provided Cassie with apartments in New York and Los Angeles, but kept spare keys for himself. This care, in reality, meant constant surveillance and restriction of her personal space. If they had a fight, he could punish her by kicking her out of the apartment or taking away her phone and car, which severely limited her independence. And now, here is the testimony of a witness from that time who was close to Diddy.
Do you remember that weekend? Were you around?
Yes, I was around.
Okay. Do you know about the fake flyer?
I don't know about the fake flyer, but I do remember when she came back and they went out to the club a couple of times. And it was a couple of times when they would stay in the studio to 4 or 5 in the morning. I wouldn't be allowed to go to bed until they left the studio. And, you know, being nosy, we all would just stay around and kind of watch and say, yo, how long do you think it's going to be? You know, how long do you think it's going to take before he breaks the safe? That's that type of conversation. And then we all realized when she didn't stay in her room one night that we said, okay, this is it.
Right. And the two of them started to become serious. Right. He bought her a car. He got her an apartment in Manhattan that was walking distance to his apartment. And she said that when he first showed her the apartment, her parents were there.
Right.
And, you know, they're a little skeptical, but they're proud that their daughter is doing well and she has this nice place and, you know, she has this, this rich boyfriend, and, you know, she's doing well financially and pursuing her career. You were around her parents at all?
Yes.
What was their overall vibe with the situation?
I would say that at first, like you said, they was kind of skeptical. They never really accepted the situation, but they wanted their daughter to be happy. So the father was very quiet. The mother would be around a little bit more. Her brother would be around. And at the beginning of the relationship, it was like a watchful thing. But, you know, Puff has a way of sending them on trips and doing everything else for the family to ease it. So everybody accepted it after, I would say, around a year or two. It was just a regular occurrence.
These early signs of control disguised as love and care began turning their relationship into a tense and toxic one. Cassie increasingly felt trapped between her desire to be close to Diddy and her fear of losing herself in the relationship. The infatuation gradually gave way to anxiety and doubt. Meanwhile, Diddy publicly expressed support and love for his chosen partner.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place for a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special shout out, thank you, all that love. Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
After the relationship began, Diddy quickly moved from ordinary support to harsh control over every aspect of Cassie's life. He dictated how she should look, from clothing and makeup to behavior in public. His demands extended not only to her appearance but also to her music career, choice of songs, and image. Cassie gradually lost the ability to make decisions on her own. This control extended to her personal life as well. Diddy didn't allow her to communicate with anyone without his knowledge and approval. If someone seemed suspicious or undesirable to him, he would immediately intervene. This pressure became unbearable, as every step Cassie took was accompanied by surveillance and constant control. If Cassie did something wrong or didn't meet his expectations, punishments would follow. Diddy could kick her out of the apartment, take away her car, or confiscate her phone. This created a sense of total submission. The girl became completely dependent on his will and resources. Life outside his control seemed impossible. The harsh punishments weren't limited to material things. Diddy knew how to use psychological pressure, reinforced by jealousy and demands for monogamy. Though the artist himself was known for his many romantic affairs, he demanded absolute fidelity from Cassie, which led to constant conflict. Diddy's jealousy was a destructive force. He suspected Cassie of cheating and constantly caused scandals over her communication with other men. Even though the relationship was officially monogamous, Cassie herself occasionally met with others, which only worsened the situation. On May 22nd, Kid Cudi testified in Diddy's trial taking place in New York. He described how Diddy launched an attack on his apartment. Here are more statements he gave in court. In 2011, Kid Cudi briefly dated Cassie when she decided to break up with Diddy. One day, Cassie called Cudi at 6 in the morning, said that Diddy found out about them and asked him to pick her up. She was very worried. Cudi picked her up and took her to a hotel. He received a call from Capricorn Clark, Diddy's assistant, almost in tears, warning him that Diddy was in a car outside Cudi's home. When Cudi arrived, Diddy was already gone. Christmas presents Cudi had bought were ripped open, and his dog had been locked in the bathroom and appeared traumatized. A few weeks later, someone cut a hole in the roof of Cudi's Porsche parked near his house and threw a Molotov cocktail inside. The car didn't burn down, but it was damaged. Part of the seat burned and the door and glass were blackened. Cudi later ran into Diddy at Soho House and called the encounter weird, saying that Diddy acted like a Marvel supervillain. He denied involvement in the car fire. Years later, according to Cudi, Diddy apologized, saying, "Just sorry for all that shit." But let's return to the story of Combs and Cassie's relationship. Under pressure and fear of losing his favor, Cassie tried to conform to Diddy's demands, but internally felt more and more suppressed and alone. She realized that their relationship no longer resembled love and had turned into a battle for control and survival. The first slaps across Cassie's face were not random outbursts of anger. It was a punishment system that quickly instilled deep fear in her. She recounted how even an unhappy facial expression or disobedience would lead to beatings. One of Diddy's cruel phrases was "fix your face," meaning her mood or emotions had to be under control and aligned with his expectations. Cassie remembered how she constantly had to watch every word not to cross the line. The phrase "watch your mouth" became a symbol of psychological pressure and threats, because any careless statement could be followed by another wave of violence. She lived in constant tension, not knowing when the next outburst of anger would turn into a blow. Here's what she said about how she felt during film shoots that involved intimate scenes.
So doing the sexy scenes, I have to be completely transparent. It's weird. It's so weird. There's, a bunch of guys around with cameras. We just went in and did it, got it done. It was quick, and that was it.
A video shown in court became one of the most severe pieces of evidence. Footage from surveillance cameras at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles captured the moment Diddy assaulted Cassie near the elevators. This video caused a massive stir, revealing the brutal truth hidden behind the glitz of show business. According to Cassie, this surveillance footage cost Diddy $50,000, the amount he paid for Intercontinental's silence. But in May of 2024, the footage came into the hands of CNN, and became the first and so far only publicly released video proving abuse by Sean Combs. Less than 48 hours after its release, the rapper recorded an address following all the crisis PR playbooks and admitted guilt, but only for what the cameras captured.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
Cassie refused to comment on the video. 6 months before the Intercontinental footage leak on November 16, 2023, she publicly accused her former boyfriend and producer of beating and raping her over 10 years. Cassie filed a lawsuit, but on November 18th, Cassie and Diddy settled by mutual agreement. The very existence of such a video became confirmation of the systematic abuse Cassie endured for many years. According to her, the physical assaults occurred too often to be considered accidents or isolated breakdowns. It was a constant threat she lived with every day. Cassie said that arguments over jealousy often ended in beatings. Diddy did not hide his aggression or try to control it, which only heightened her fear and sense of hopelessness. With each hit, Cassie realized she was in a trap that was hard to escape. The frequency and intensity of the beatings indicated that violence had become almost normal for Cassie. She became used to living in fear and anxiety, hiding her pain from others and enduring the brutality to maintain the relationship and hope for something better. However, behind closed doors, things happened that no one should have seen. Publicly, Diddy continued to play the role of a successful and charismatic producer, while Cassie remained in the shadows, suffering unbearable pain. This contrast emphasized the tragedy of her situation. The term freak-offs in Diddy's circle referred to multi-day parties filled with substances, alcohol, and orgies. These events were held in luxurious mansions and upscale hotels, with only those close to the producer and special guests invited. The atmosphere at these parties was simultaneously glamorous and terrifying. Behind the glitz and fun was deep exploitation and abuse. Cassie became one of the participants in these freak-offs, not of her own free will, but under coercion. She was forced to have sex with other men, often without the ability to refuse. All of this took place under psychological pressure and threats. She had to seek out and bring sex workers to the parties, pay for their services, becoming an instrument for organizing these horrific events. These parties, originally positioned as glamorous hangouts, were in fact factories of fear, exploitation, and trauma. People invited there often had no idea about the full depth of what was happening behind the scenes, including Cassie herself, who initially saw it as part of the showbiz world. Cameras and videos recorded at the freak-offs were used as tools of intimidation and blackmail. They ensured total submission, as the threat of exposure could destroy Cassie's life and career forever. This psychological aspect of the exploitation was one of the most brutal. On May 12th, Cassie testified in court against Diddy. Cassie said that the parties began because of the rapper's interest in voyeurism. She was forced to have sex with other men while Diddy watched and gave instructions. The men were sex workers. Combs forced Ventura to search for them online and paid each from $1,500 to $6,000. Some sessions lasted up to 2 days straight, and during that time, Ventura slept with several strangers. She recalled drinking alcohol and taking substances Combs gave her so she wouldn't fall asleep. Ventura also explained the role of baby oil at Combs' parties. Last year, during a search of the rapper's home, 1,000 bottles of such oil were found, which became a meme. According to Ventura, the rapper asked participants of the sex parties to thoroughly rub themselves with oil. They used around 10 large bottles each time, and once, the rapper even ordered an inflatable pool to be filled with oil, Ventura said. If there wasn't enough oil, Coleman's staff or hotel employees, where the orgies took place, would bring more. By the way, there are experts who claim that Cassie herself may also be held responsible for participating in and possibly organizing those same freak-offs.
Next question, I was going to ask, could Cassie be charged? Will they charge Cassie? Because from what you're telling us, it was like
baby girl was the number two.
No, she was number two, and she was setting
up. I told y'all
that
yesterday. Yesterday I said she was G Money and Diddy Nino Brown.
The freak offs, and she allegedly supplied some of the drugs. That's what it seems like they're saying. So could she be charged as well?
I had asked some questions about that yesterday to a source who told me that they had heard that there were some conversations about immunity, which would only make sense. But they can't 100% confirm it. But I'll have that by Monday.
No, but she said she already has contextualized that.
Right.
She contextualized that her first couple of days in court by saying I did whatever I had to do and said what I had to say in order not to get my freaking face beat.
But I think so. Seeing that, and that's what I'm saying, because like for instance, there was one text from 2009. That's the one where she says, to correct it. That's the one where she directly says, "I'm always down to freak off." And then later she talks about how she wants it to be like, she wants it dirty, like she wants it aggressive, she wants it whatever. So that you know why they did that, because they're trying to show if he was aggressive at all. She asked for that, but
she was down with it.
Yeah, but I just think that like in the text messages leading up to that Intercontinental video, he was so gentle in the conversation. Like, there was no...
As a result, 120 people, 60 men and 60 women, have filed lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, accusing him of abuse. This information came from attorney Tony Busby, whose firm represents these individuals. Busby clarified that 25 of the 120 people were minors at the time of the alleged abuse. They were aspiring to build careers in the music or television industry. The cases of abuse span from the year 1991. According to Busby, victims were often given a drink that they suspect was laced with some substances. Once the drink begins to take effect, the perpetrators commit all kinds of sexual acts with the victims, passing him or her around multiple times while others watch and enjoy the show, Busby said. Prosecutors believe that Combs had accomplices who helped lure victims to parties, using violence, coercion, and substances, preparing hotel rooms, and finding substances that were added to drinks. Victims, according to the prosecution, feared that they would be subjected to more abuse or that their careers would suffer if they refused to attend the parties. Moreover, in the high-profile court case against Diddy, serious accusations have also emerged against Jay-Z. A woman known by the pseudonym Jane Doe claimed that in the year 2000, when she was under 18, she was abused not only by Diddy, but also by Jay-Z and another celebrity. In the lawsuit, she describes in detail how she was taken to a private event where these crimes occurred. The victim alleges that after signing a non-disclosure agreement, she was forced to participate in orgies in which Jay-Z played an active role. According to her, he, along with Diddy and others, forced her to endure sexual abuse, all of which was under the control of powerful people in the showbiz industry. The accusations include both physical abuse and coercion to remain silent. Jay-Z and his camp responded immediately. He categorically denied all accusations, calling them an attempt at blackmail by the victim's attorney. Roc Nation stated that the accusations are so serious that they should be investigated by law enforcement and not settled in civil court. The response also mentioned the negative impact such a lawsuit has on Jay-Z's reputation and that of his family. In the 2010s, when Cassie signed a contract with the label Bad Boy Records, she was promised a brilliant future, the release of no fewer than 10 albums and a world-class career. Diddy promised to help her become a real star by investing resources, promoting her, and crafting her image. However, the reality turned out to be entirely different. Over the years of their collaboration, Cassie released only one full-length album. This discrepancy between grand promises and the actual result became the first sign of deep problems in her relationship with Diddy. Instead of support and development, she faced professional oppression. The producer limited her creative freedom, imposed his decisions, and controlled every aspect of her work, turning her career into a tool for manipulation. Eventually, in the year 2018, Cassie and Diddy broke up. The singer herself said that this happened because of yet another cheating incident by the rapper, of which there were many during their relationship. Interestingly, in 2018, they were still giving joint interviews. In them, Diddy was dressed all in white, which now looks strange and creepy considering the rumors about his white parties.
We got Miss Cassie, we got Diddy, guys. The party is starting because y'all arrived, right?
Whenever everybody just looks great. I think it's a collection.
Yeah. Head to toe, describe to me, what's the inspiration behind your outfit tonight? Was it an all-white party?
I just wanted to just keep it, simple and plain, angelic, and not really try to overdo it with the theme, but just, have it be more sophisticated and more minimalistic.
That's right you are. And please tell me about your look tonight. You look amazing.
I'm wearing head to toe Tom Brown, and I just wanted to be, at my Sunday's best, suited and booted. I always wear a dress, so I wanted to try something different.
Yeah, it's just like everyday life for us.
Yeah. You angelic all the time? Mm-hmm. Final question, is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right here.
There you go. That's how you do it, right?
It is also interesting that Cassie and Diddy were in a relationship for several years, but Diddy never proposed to her. Here's what the singer herself thinks about it.
Everybody always wants to put their own terms of a relationship on other people. Mm-hmm. When is he gonna marry you? Yes. When is this gonna happen? Nowadays with somebody like Puff, who's Puff's been married, I don't know how many times, once maybe, twice, 0. I don't know. Oh, he's never been married.
No.
So obviously he's not into that. That's not his thing.
What's cool about Puff is that he is, and he does want to understand marriage. But we have, a certain type of relationship, and it just works the way it is.
Do you believe marriage is for everybody?
No, absolutely not. My parents are still married. Rod, how long have they been married? 35 years. Yeah.
Is that your brother?
That's my older brother. Yeah.
Hey, brother.
That's
right. You guys look alike. By the way, you guys look alike.
Yeah.
But do you believe in marriage?
I believe in marriage if it's with the right situation. But I feel like, I've seen a lot of people get married and break up in the term
Right after, yeah.
No, in the term that I've been in my relationship.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like you can't really put a tag on it. Of course, everybody looks at marriage as something very, I don't know, solid and important, but you have a solid relationship.
4 years after her breakup with Diddy, in 2023, as mentioned earlier, Cassie filed a lawsuit against the rapper, claiming that he raped and sexually exploited her during their 10-year relationship. The next day, the former couple reached a settlement. Later, Ventura testified in court that she received $20 million in compensation in the case. It became clear to everyone that the woman had gone through real hell. But interestingly, during her relationship with Diddy, she met her current husband, a simple trainer named Alex Fine, who became her spouse and showed her what truly happy relationships are like. By profession, Fine is a fitness trainer, and he worked as a personal coach with many celebrities, including Diddy. That's when Cassie and Alex met. Their romance, apparently, developed quickly. Just 2 months after her long-awaited breakup with Diddy, Cassie later said that she had tried many times to leave the rapper but he wouldn't let her. Ventura confirmed her relationship with Alex by posting romantic photo booth pictures. Cassie's mother also appeared in the photos, indicating the seriousness of the couple's intentions. And so it happened. Soon, Cassie became pregnant. Without much hesitation, the couple set a wedding date to marry before the baby was born. Since everything was already decided, Cassie wasn't expecting a particularly fancy proposal from Alex, but he didn't want to deprive his beloved of a beautiful and touching moment. One day, before a family dinner, Cassie picked up Alex at the site of the Compton Cowboys charity group, which offers horseback riding lessons to children from underprivileged areas of Compton, California. That's where he proposed. In August 2019, the couple got married, and in December their first daughter, Frankie, was born. In 2021, their second daughter, Sunny, arrived. In 2025, Alex and Cassie are expecting another child, this time a boy. Yes, Cassie gave testimony in court while pregnant. She was interrogated for about 4 hours. She is expected to continue at the next hearing, and will speak, among other things, about the rape that, according to her lawsuit, led her to leave Diddy. She will also face cross-examination from the rapper's defense, which denies all accusations. His lawyers are expected to argue that Ventura's and Combs' relationship was consensual and mutually abusive. We're going to take the position that the relationship involved mutual violence, said Diddy's lead attorney Mark Agnafilo. In addition to Ventura, other alleged victims of Combs will testify in court, but they will remain anonymous. The prosecution reported that among them is another former girlfriend of the rapper, whom he forced to participate in sex parties, and a former employee whom he coerced into sex. The judge will also have to decide whether to show video footage of the parties themselves. The prosecution wants only the jurors to see them, so they are unlikely to be shown to the press or public. When Ventura testified, her husband Alex Fine sat in the courtroom. Diddy's family was also present at the trial, the rapper's mother and his 6 older children. They publicly supported him after the accusations of sexualized violence. In January, NBC journalists released a documentary about Diddy, stating that as a child he witnessed sex parties with alcohol and substances organized by his mother. After the film was released, the rapper filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC.
So remember when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs? All right, so tomorrow Peacock is dropping. According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having sex. I mean, that was just their normal. And the doc, when talking about the parties, Tim says, verbatim, "That's what we were privy to. This was what we were fed. Was it desensitizing us?"
That's all from us. What do you think about Cassie's life and career in the context of the scandal and the trial against Diddy? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Bye, everyone.